e-commerce space, fashion e-retailer Myntra has acquired Jabong for an undisclosed sum. CNBC TV 18's Adit Chardi is in an exclusive conversation with Anant Narayanan, the CEO of Myntra. Listen in.
Thanks, Reema. That's right. We are talking to the man of the moment, Anant Narayanan, CEO of Myntra. Also joining in from our Delhi studio is my colleague Saina. Anant, appreciate you joining us. Always a pleasure to have you on board. If I can start off by asking, this deal has been in the making for a long time now. If you could break down this deal for us, and what is it that really drove the Myntra team to look at Jabong as a strategic acquisition?
Sure. Thanks, Adit. Thanks for having me. Look, I mean, the reasoning is actually quite simple. Fashion and lifestyle is the largest or second largest category in e-commerce. I think it will be a 40 billion category by 2020. And I think vertical fashion destinations actually are unique in that they can actually sell to the space. I think Jabong, both as a brand, a company, their focus on international brands, their focus on women, their strength in NCR, all made it quite attractive for us. And as you then thought about Myntra plus Jabong, and you basically said, how do we actually continue to really shape the fashion and lifestyle market, we thought it would be a terrific asset, right? And I actually, while it's an acquisition, I also think of it genuinely almost as a partnership to say, how do we actually continue to grow and scale the business? Also, from a Flipkart group perspective, it made a ton of sense because Flipkart Softlines plus Myntra plus Jabong actually can really now actually operate on all parts of the market and continue to actually shape the market. So we're very excited about it both as a group and as Myntra.
So Anant, you've brought up a couple of points and we're just going to break them down one by one. Let's start by talking about the entity. Will Jabong and Myntra continue to operate separately? Is there a timeline on merging both of those entities? What is going to be the brand positioning for both of these? Since you all both function, now of course Jabong is part of Myntra, but in a very similar space.
Yeah. So look, no intention actually to merge the companies, no intention to actually merge the brands. I think Jabong as a brand has its strengths, Myntra as a brand has its strength. I also, by the way, believe, I mean, maybe this is just the optimist in me, but I believe in possibility, right? I actually think we're at 3% penetration of online fashion retail. I think it can be much, much larger. And I think with both brands and the strengths that the brands bring, I think we can actually grow the market. So 95% of our attention is going to be on growth. And we will, of course, leverage capabilities of each other to actually make it better, right? But that's actually the goal of what we want to try and do. It's growth.
All right. And as far as positioning the two brands is concerned, both of you all have, Myntra's strength is its private labels. Jabong's strength is a large number of partnerships exclusive partnerships that it has with international brands.
Yeah.
How will that play out? Will one of the two be positioned in a more premium position? Is that something that you all are looking at all?
Look, I mean, very early days, I think in terms of what each of the brand positioning should be. I think in the short to mid-term, over the next 6 to 12 months, we'll continue to operate as independent brands. And what we will do is leverage strengths. So you mentioned private brands and international brands, right? So we will, of course, make private brands available on Jabong, the Myntra private brands. And to the extent possible, we will also, take some of the international brands and make it available on Myntra, right? So we will leverage it. This is really about consumers. Right? I actually think the consumers, we want to give more choice, we want to make it a better experience, and we really want to actually differentiate on the fashion experience, right? And I think bringing these two together will help with that. So I think that's the short answer to your question.
Anant, will there be any redundancies considering that both companies play in the same space, may have a common base of customers? So will there be any redundancies, any job cuts that people should be wary of?
Yeah, so let me just answer two different parts. One is customers and the other is employees. I think on customers, look, the way I think about it is not overlap in customers. I think of it as an overlap in wardrobe wallet, right? So even if a customer is buying things on Myntra and buying things on Jabong, they're buying two different things because the selection is different. And fashion is an emotional category, right? So you actually buy different things. So I don't see that overlap as a particular issue. I see it as growing the pie and continuing the customer base and increasing the customer base. On the employees and the redundancies, like I told you, I think the big focus today is to how do we grow the pie. I think that's the 90–95% focus. As we think about areas of synergies, we will look at it function by function, but we're in no rush, right? We will, by the way, I mean, the advantages that I see as being part of the Flipkart group is that you do have e-cart, which is actually fairly large on logistics and very efficient. And so to the extent that we can leverage some of those capabilities, for sure we will.
Okay, so in a move to maintain its top leadership position, Flipkart via Myntra has acquired Jabong, though the financials have not been disclosed, and the management making it very clear in a CNBC TV 18 exclusive that as of now, these two brands will operate independently. They have no plans to merge it. We'll slip into